This episode of the Siam Hockey League News is brought to you by the Big Chili magazine, where in this issue there is a great article titled Jukes and CEA Join Forces to Support Musicians and Drive the Creative Industry Forward through two remarkable activities under the CEA Vaccine Project. The Sound of the City and the CEA Live House. So we've just finished off week 7, and the first game kind of went how I expected. In our first game, we had the Novotel Spitfires going head-to-head against Aware.
What can we say, right? The Novotel train just keeps chugging along.
Well, I mean, they did have a few games where it was like they were winning it in the last minute of the game, but to Aware's credit, they had a great game against Siam Mandalay.
Picked up their first win of the season.
Picked up their first win in a shootout win, but they just, for the first period and a half, really.
Two periods, yeah.
Well, they started picking things up halfway through the second period, but they didn't get on the board until the third period. But yeah, for like the first period and a half, I'd say they were pretty flat.
Yeah, you say we just finished, but it's almost 2 weeks now. It's kind of hard for me to remember a little bit. But yeah, it just kind of felt like more of the same. Like you've seen a few different strategies, and there's kind of felt like with Aware 2 steps or 1 step forward, 2 steps back. It almost feels like at times. Yeah. So whether it's guys who are not competing hard on plays when you get out of position, or conversely somebody trying to do too much and they get a giveaway and you have an odd man rush going the other way, things like that, it just feels like it's snowballing for them in some ways.
It's quite difficult. I mean, you've got a lot of really, really strong personalities on Aware, and it's like that old adage: too many cooks
in the kitchen. Sure.
And once they can figure out how to put all these personalities into one team, they're going to be a force to reckon with.
How many times we say, I'm looking at the roster again, they got so many guys who've played really well. Especially, I'm looking at the defensemen right now.
They played really well individually.
Sure. Forgive me, right? It's just as a cohesive whole, it's not quite there yet, and you see the results on the page. Just get into some of the mad stats for the Novotel players. I mean, how many players on that team also, the depth that they have, and how, in a different way, they do play really well as a unit.
This is like the two sides
Jekyll
of
and
the
Hyde,
coin.
right?
Yeah, you've got the two sides of the coin. You've got Aware, who is struggling to put everything together as a team. They're still trying to do, 7 weeks in, still trying to do everything individually. And then you have the Novotel Spitfires, who do everything together as a team.
You've got grinders, guys who are going to get dirty, try and break up plays. You got guys who are aggressive on the forecheck, aggressive on the back check, looking for opportunities to set up their other playmakers on the team and try and put people in positions to be successful. And it's just beautiful hockey to watch, really.
It is. It's a lot of fun. And this game was like the epitome so far of the season of what it looks like when a team plays together.
And to give credit where credit's due, I mean, yes, Aware's got a lot of solid players. Novotel, I think, has some of the deepest amount of players with international experience playing in different leagues.
Very true.
And as well as some young up-and-comers who we'll allude to in a second, who have, such exciting potential.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
But starting things off in the first period, about halfway through, we've got Stastny. He said his name so many times this season. Hockey name, right? He's got hockey in his blood with his family playing the NHL, his dad and his cousin. But he opened the scoring with an assist from Major.
And Major had an incredible game.
Well-deserved. He got an award later we'll talk about. But was just flying all around the rink in this game.
He was.
And was productive. And it's nice to see him kind of break through statistically, because he is one of those guys on this team you kind of get lost in the shine of the lights, right? That he plays well.
This is his second season. If I'm not mistaken, he was the Johnny O'Duia's scholarship player last season.
Okay.
I could be mistaken. I'd have to check the stats, or the records. But yeah, he's a young up-and-coming player, and he really started to put things together in this game, and you see it. I mean, he had 2 goals and an assist, and it was just an amazing game for him.
He plays really well with his countryman Menkorn. They're often paired together out there, and you just, as you say, consistently does some of those things, small things well. Being active in the play, trying to break things up, moving the puck ahead, and it's nice to see him rewarded, statistically speaking.
Absolutely, and like you said, he got the second the second goal of the game, which was assisted by
Scotty Hockey.
Scotty Hockey, who had a beautiful setup.
Yeah.
Scott had a bit of a edgy game this week.
Sure.
Or in this game, but in his defense, it was going both ways. Mm-hmm. So it's interesting to see when Scott gets his ire up, and it's fun to watch. He really doesn't take a lot. He's really a calm guy, but when the shit hits the fan, he'll scrap it with you. So
yeah, for sure. And you saw that in the not many penalties, but a few penalties in this game. There was a little bit of chippiness. I liked also that the refs, I don't think, had too much. What's the word I'm looking for? They didn't blow the whistle too much, right?
No,
they kind of let the guys play.
They let the guys play, which is always, being a hockey player, it's always nice to see, unless it looks like it's getting out of control, which I didn't see that happening. So
I think the players let the play speak for them.
Yeah, definitely. So. And then in the second period, you had Freeson, who scored the first one, with the assists coming from Ralph and Ben.
Yes.
Ben, the first goaltender assist all season, if I'm not mistaken.
I think that's correct. I think we've had, unfortunately for us, with our high-tech skills, it's mostly memory and asking players after they come off, hey, did you get that? But I think, statistically speaking, this is our first goaltender point of the season, so congratulations, Ben.
Yeah, and it was great. I mean, he stopped the play and passed it up to Ralphie, and Ralphie hit Freeson. Beautiful goal on Lance.
Yeah.
Sorry, Lance. You just had a rough game this week.
It's just, exactly, and how many times can we say chalk it up? We've seen Lance with this exact team play extremely well for the first part of the season, so part of it is rust. Part of it, is...
Wait, you can't say it's rust because he's playing...
excuse me, not rust, but the word I'm looking for is, let's say that the gears aren't lubricated together, right? You've got a new team with lacking some chemistry, lacking that style. Do the guys with the, previous goaltender that they have still have some, what's the word I'm looking
animosity?
for? I wouldn't say animosity because Lance is a new guy, right? I'm thinking more like you're disheartened, right?
Yeah,
you're scripting the play in your head like, oh, this has happened so many times. We're going to, make a mistake again, and here we go. I've given the puck away. I'm not going to skate that hard on the back check. Oh, I'm not going to really try and crash the net and make sure I get the puck out of there so there's not a rebound opportunity on my goaltender. Yep. So anyway, that being said, we know Lance can play well. He's got a lot of experience. He's got a history, of award-winning seasons where he's played really well, I think.
Yeah.
So
he's got an SHL Cup to his record. So.
And on the opposite end, you got a young player like Ben, who how many times have we seen you make a goaltender a great save on one end, and because you get that, your players can then take out on the counterattack, and they go right down another rush and score.
It doesn't happen that often in the SHL, but it is nice to see when it does happen.
I think that has happened with Ben at least once or twice when I've been calling these games.
Yeah. And then for their second goal,
Major
in
again.
the second period, Major again, which was assisted by Stastny again. So that's Stastny's having a great season, and Major is just like we said, he's really. Everything's coming together in this game. So
it's been great to see. It's a lot of fun to watch these players, and they've done a really good job. Then the power play later in the game, like we said, a few penalties. Delay of game picked up by Novotel.
Yeah.
Excuse me. It was interference by Aware that was picked up. And
there was a delay of game by Ken.
He laughed about it. It hit the ceiling.
It was I mean, who purposely hits the ceiling? But we do have a strange rule in the SHL this season because we do not have glass, and if you flip it out of play in your defensive zone in a rink that has glass, it's a penalty. It's a delay of game penalty. But because we don't have glass, we're playing with netting. They've kind of let that go a little bit. Well, not kind of. They have let that. They're not calling it this year.
And in the player's defense, sure. And in the player's defense, I don't think I personally, because I've commented all the games, seen anything egregious.
No.
And in Ken's defense too, this was completely accidental. He just flipped it too high.
Yeah, and it is kind of a low ceiling in there. So
in my opinion, it's annoying, but the rule is the rule, So I can see it both ways here.
And they killed it. They killed that penalty. So
their special teams play,
is
along with everything else, has been so
they
well.
have a great power play. They have a great penalty kill, and then
speaking of, right, Kindborn, hey, I got out of the box, so I got an opportunity. Let's cash in.
Absolutely. So he gets a power play goal, which again was assisted by
Stastny.
Yeah. So the end of the second period, Aware is down 5-0, and I'm thinking it's over.
Yeah.
But to give them credit, they didn't quit.
Sure.
They just started late.
Too little, too late, unfortunately.
Too little, too late.
But it was nice to see.
It was
to your
very
point.
nice to see, yeah. And you've got Masato opening things up for Aware in the third period.
First minute of the period. Set up by Omelka. Omelka, I've said his name a lot as well. Aware's got, individually, as you said, a lot of really great defensemen who make a lot of really great plays. It's just, unfortunately, we can't quite seem to get all the pieces to fit together right now. But Omelka, I've said his name a lot, plays really well, breaking up the plays. Nice to see him get the assist on Masato's goal there. And then later, 92,
Arnold,
another rookie.
My boy, he's not a rookie. This is his third season in the SHL, if I'm not mistaken.
Forgive me, Arnold. I was thinking of Roger, but you and Roger play together often. Excuse me.
But Arnold, he plays on my team in the BIHL.
Okay.
So it's nice to see him put points on the board in the SHL, and he's a great player. I mean, he comes out and he works hard every week, every game, and sometimes he gets awarded.
Good. Set up by Brendan Vick. Yep.
That's right.
Vick tries to get on the scoring board quite a bit, so it's nice to see him as well.
Absolutely. And then, of course,
Freeson decided, I'm going to stop the embers of this comeback.
Yeah. Gets an unassisted goal at the 9-minute mark. It's like, oh, man. And then Stastny again, assisted by Kindborn again. But Aware didn't call it quits, and with 10 seconds left in the game, Peam gets a goal.
Yeah.
Nice to see.
Nice to see him also get on the score sheet.
Which was assisted by Davey Bohr and your boy, Roman. So, this was difficult because, as I said, the first 2.5 minutes, first period and a half, Aware went back to their old ways. They weren't playing like they did when they played against Siam and Delay. And then when they did finally put everything together, they run out of time.
Yeah. It's a tough one, I'm looking for, a thesaurus, right, for synonyms for how many times can we say, guys, like, look, we know it's difficult, right? You feel like you have to hang your head, but if you make a mistake against a team with quality top-end talent across its roster, a lot of different players who can hurt you, and you leave your goaltender kind of on an island, metaphorically, you don't support him with back-checking, you don't support him with clearing pucks out, rebound opportunities, things like that, you're going to suffer. We know Lance can play well. He played well with the opposition, right? Novotel, first few games of the season.
Yes, he did.
So, do what you can, chalk it up. How many times can I say chalk it up to a bad game? But
7 bad games. It's
6.
6. Okay, fair enough. 6 bad games, and it's Justin needs to find a way to get these clashing personalities to play together. I don't know if he has to reshuffle the lines. I don't know if he has to. Well, he can't bench anybody, but.
You need some guys to play each week because, I'm not going to call anybody out, but not all their players have played each week, and that's tough, too, when you have people coming in and out of the lineup.
Right.
I like your idea of shuffling the lines.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's, take the guys out and have a beer and say, hey, like, this is what we need to do if we want to salvage our season.
Yeah, if that's what they got to do, go out and have a beer. Dude, everybody, get the whole team together, Justin. Go out, have a beer, find out what you guys need to do to play a full game.
Talk to Mike Freeson. Freeson's a guy, who he's got a lot of personality, but he's not going to be in your face about it,
No.
and really the entire Novotel team, for that matter, for the most part, just lets their play do the talking. They have guys who are going to defend their players, who are going to stick up for them. They've got a lot of really great grinders on that team that we love to watch play. But they got to just say, hey, this is what we expect to happen. We're going to play well, we're going to play hard, and good things are going to happen.
Yep, and they're fun to watch, whether it's a close game or it's a blowout, which
they have a few.
They have a few of those. They are fun to watch because, again, they never stop playing. It's not like, okay, we're up by 3 goals, let's start coasting. No, that's not Novotel's game.
And look, and they've been rewarded for it. If you look at our stat page at SiamHockeyLeague.com, I believe, I think about half a dozen of the top 10 players, and statistically, are Novotel players. 3 of the top 5.
Yeah.
You've got Stastny, you've got Kindborn, you got Freeson. Look at this game. Major had a great game. Up and down this lineup, you got people who will make you pay if you give them a mistake.
Looking at the top 5 players right now, you have Freeson, Kindborn, Stastny.
Top 3.
Those are the top 3.
Only players in double figures.
It's like 16 points for Freeson, 15 points for Kindborn, and 12 points for Stastny.
And Kindborn even missed the game.
Yeah, so it's like, it's crazy.
And you stop one person, somebody else is going to hurt you. You stop somebody else, well, guess what? Who's going to get a grinding goal in a game every now and then? Bitter, right?
Yep.
Somebody like that can, so many ways this team can hurt you, but they're so much fun to watch.
They are.
If you get down a little bit lower on that list, you'll see Major.
Yes.
You'll see Menkorn.
Yep.
Right? It's, and then, all else fails, you've got one of our best young up-and-coming goaltenders in the league, Ben. We have barely said Ben's
21
name.
21 years old, and he's playing.
Almost lights out.
He's on the level, or pretty close to the same level as, I would say, as Leo.
I would say that.
Give him another 5 years, and there's not going to be anybody in Thailand who can play with him.
Sure. On our stats page right now, he and Leo are tied save percentage-wise with nearly a .920 clip.
There you go.
A young goaltender in a league with international talent, getting good experience.
Says international talent. He played in Minnesota.
Woohoo! You know what I mean.
Yeah.
And that's true too, right? That actually does mean a lot, right? Thinking about it in that way, you've got young foundational hockey at the youth level.
Yep.
Give a shout out to all of our coaches, all of our players out there who support it all around the world, right? We have a lot of it here in Thailand with a lot of these players. I think Ben himself, who gets young players to play. So that's awesome to see.
Absolutely. And before we get into the player of the game, I need to mention who was the star of the game for Aware, Arnold, because he played, I'm going to say this was his best game all season. And obviously, I mean, he got a goal out of the process, but he was up and down, flying up and down the ice, always breaking up, or trying to break up plays. So he got the star of the game. But our Rolling Stone Pizza player of the game, nope, this week didn't go to Ben. Major.
A well-deserved player of the game. 3-point night, I believe. 2 goals and an assist.
2 goals and an assist.
So well done.
And here's my interview with Major. I'm here with the Rolling Stone Pizza player of the game, Major. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Great game. 3 points tonight?
Yeah. 2 goals and 1 assist. Yeah, great game today. Yeah.
And what were you thinking going into this game?
I think this game is great. Everyone tried to support me for the 3rd goal, but then I couldn't make it. Yeah.
Next time.
Yeah, next time.
Excellent. Well, congratulations again.
Yeah, thank you.
So in our second game of the night, we had KCG versus Siam Mandalay. And I'll tell you what, this did not go how I expected. It started off the way I expected it, but it didn't finish that way.
Right? You have KCG coming off, I'll call it a bit of a letdown.
Yeah.
In the much vaunted rematch with Novotel. Novotel just took care of business. And KCG came out in this game, though, played well.
They did. They scoring in the 6 minutes in. The first goal coming from Jan Isaacson, which was assisted by Time.
Jan and Time playing really well together.
They are.
So. I think they have I'm trying to think of my, rewind in my mind. KCG has a pretty exciting all-tie 5-player lineup that they often run out with the 2 tie defensemen. I believe it's Mel and Heng, I think.
Yeah,
played
Mel,
together.
Heng,
And then the forward line with Jan, with Winnie, and with Time, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And also they have other Poon and Pan, I believe, as well.
Yep.
Also come out
Poon
there
and
sometimes,
Pan,
and they
yep.
switch out. So the point I'm making is it's just fun to see that, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they have some experience
and they compete.
playing.
They do well. So.
And you see it there on the score sheet.
And then everything kind of was pretty quiet until about halfway through the second period.
Yeah, you saw a couple penalties. I'll just say quickly, you saw a couple penalties. I know
Sure.
both teams were a little bit, and conversely to the first game, they said they felt the officials were a bit quicker to call some whistles in this game.
Well, if you're talking about the person who got 2 penalties right away at the first period, it's just like I gotta love you, Ernesto, but you can be a bit hot-headed at times, and you need to listen to the refs. So a lot of it was, I don't know if he didn't understand him, he wasn't listening, he went to the wrong place, and he ended up getting a
Yeah, but coming
misconduct.
back, everybody was shouting, "Hey man, come on!" He was doing the soccer. I'm gonna walk as slow as I can off the pitch.
So
You get what you pay for.
Yeah, true. So he ended up getting 2.5 plus 10 just for that first body checking penalty. That hurts.
Yes, it does. And to their credit, played excellently. Siam, that is, on the penalty kill.
Yes, they did. They had a really good penalty kill this evening. So, and then in our second period, before we get go back to the first period. You know, you had the interference call on Heng. Kind of iffy, but you know they trying to keep it fair on both sides. So,
and to the credit of KCG's penalty kill as well,
yeah,
kept them off the board.
They did. They played really solid, and they kept boxed it out. And every time they touched the puck, they sent it down the ice.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Anyway, back and forth. You know, both teams good goaltending play in this game overall.
I'd agree with that. You know, between Dream and Leo. So. Leo is a good, solid goaltender, but I think sometimes at about the midway point in the season, teams start to over-rely on that. And as you'll see here in a little bit, it sneaks up and bites them.
Yeah. And I think it's a variety of factors. KCG, you know, either putting shots wide.
Yeah.
And then credit to CM, getting in shooting lanes, getting in passing lanes, blocking shots.
Siam Mandalay did a really good job with breaking up a lot of plays.
When you limit your opponent to less than 20 shots against, good things are generally going to happen.
Yeah, definitely, especially when you're putting 30 shots on net. So, but then in our second period, about halfway through, we had Mel scoring with the assists coming from Michael White and Jan. So, puts them up 2-0 in the end of the second period.
Super sub Mike White, pretty much point per game player when he's out there.
Yeah,
you know?
Yes he is.
He just does a lot of the little things well. I think it's been about 2 or 3 games in a row now that he's played, and we've said his name each week.
Yeah, definitely.
So he just does, like you talked about, a lot of the little things. You know, he's gonna.
Well, it was a big loss when he said he was only gonna play part-time this year as a substitute player. I mean, he is definitely a skater that is missed on the ice. Now, that's not taking anything away from our amazing Thai players and our other foreign players. It's just he is a very consistent points player, game in, game out for the first 4 seasons. So
some of the players, you see that they have the experience, you know, of seasons under their belt. And they just know how to put themselves in a good position to score,
they do.
or a good position to make others successful. You know, he's gonna get a little back check, you know, and pick your pocket every now and then because you weren't really paying attention.
He's good at that. He's absolutely very good at that.
And he gave on this particular play gave a great feed to Mel, who in the slot didn't miss when given the opportunity. It was nice to see him get on the score sheet.
But then we get to the third period, and I have to say before we start talking about it. Harrison has been really good about keeping his guys pumped up between periods. I can hear him talking on the bench, and he did that between the first and the second period. I don't know what happened between the second and the third period. He was so quiet over there. I don't know if he thought the game was over or
just
what.
A little bit of coasting, you know. You feel like, okay, in a Novotel type of fashion, right? this is what we expect. We're in the lead. We're playing well. Maybe not quite as much as we could be, but keep on. You know.
But KCG just kind of
minute and a half in,
put it into neutral and just kind of coasted in. Siam Mandalay
finally wakes up.
The goal from Patrick Forstner, which was assisted by Yin and Non, which is good to see. So
I agree. Guys who got rewarded, play well. Yin especially, Non, we say his name every now and then. They've got a CM Mandalay that has got I think a nice all-tie lineup, forward lineup as well. Ton, Non, and Home.
Well, they have what has now been called the crash line, which is
a different one. Yeah,
that's a different line, which we're going to talk about here in a second. They are fun to watch, but they have earned their name. With just over a minute left in the game, they tie things up.
Yeah, just keep chipping away.
Darius from the crash line, which was assisted by Yin.
Also, I believe extra skater on. Just to mention that
they did have an extra skater because they pulled their goaltender, and it worked for him this time. So, but at the end, just before time runs out, Darius takes a stupid hooking call. But fortunately, they held on, and it pushed it into the overtime period.
Again, finish out that penalty, I think, or maybe
they did finish out the penalty.
Yeah.
So, but the crash line still fighting hard in the overtime period. Turner Johnson gets the game-winning goal. And
well-deserved. What can you say? Guy goes out there and he competes.
He does.
It reminds me of the All Flow team, with the nice...
It's almost there. But yeah, he's a guy... I don't know about you. I don't know how often you mention his name when he's on the ice, but he just never stops. He's always plugging away. He doesn't always get points on the board.
Sure.
Has had a penalty or two, but he's just constantly plugging away, doing what he can. And he's rewarded in this game with the game-winning goal in the overtime period.
All the players on that lineup, on that line, are gritty. They play hard.
Yes, they are.
It's fun to watch. Darius, Mitch Morrison, and Turner. So it's fun to watch them.
Really, it's like a whole all-grinder line. So, but yeah, they played well and they fought hard and they came back to win the game. Can't beat that.
And I believe this play won an award.
It did, but we'll talk about that in a little bit.
Okay.
The Rolling Stone Pizza Player of the Game. It doesn't happen often, but every once in a while it goes to the losing team. This went to Mel.
Deserved.
Outstanding play offensively and defensively in this game. So
blocking shots, getting in passing lanes,
yes,
scored on this in this game in particular. Had the second goal for KCG. So I think this was a well-deserved win for him.
Absolutely, and here's me talking to him after the game. I'm here with the Rolling Stone Pizza Player of the Game, Mel. Congratulations.
Thank you. Close game at the start, first period and second period. And third period, they started coming back, and tight game, we lost. We'll get them next time.
What were you thinking when you got your goal tonight?
I didn't expect it at all. I just shot, and then it just went in, and lucky bounce.
And I saw a great diving save to stop the pass.
Oh, yeah. Injured me a bit, but it was worth it.
Excellent. Well, congratulations again.
Thank you, Dom.
And so we have our Jerky Monster Play of the Week. Here's Maddie with that.
What is up, my fellow SHL enthusiasts? This week's Jerky Monster Play of the Week goes to Turner Johnson from Siam Mandalay for his overtime goal. Getting Siam Mandalay the win against KCG. Your jerky is waiting for you with Dom. I'll see you guys next week.
And now we have our Prime Burger monthly players. Our Prime Burger offensive player of the month went to Mike Freeson. Amazing all month long, every week.
He's now atop the league standings. Ken missed the one game, so on a point per game clip, Ken is slightly ahead of him. But, Mike, what a player. So much fun to watch. And furthermore, captain of his team.
If he's not scoring, he's setting people up.
Exactly.
And he's so much fun to watch. So it was...
he plays a complete two-way game.
He does.
Wins face-offs. Will back check will forecheck. Really does a great job of getting takeaways, of putting, as you said, his line mates in opportunities to succeed.
Yep.
So well done, well deserved, Mike.
Congratulations, Mike, and I'll get that to you at Sunday night. And our Prime Burger Defensive Monthly Player went to none other than Jari Edikainen.
He had a great month, along with Jan. Missed the first couple games of the season, I believe.
Yep.
And then started off with a bang. He and Jan clicked really well together. Got a couple 2-point games, I think, each, where they were, setting one or the other up.
Yep.
And just does a lot of the other little things, though, since then, to not necessarily show up on the score sheet, but he's breaking up plays. He's getting in the passing lanes. He does a good job of moving the puck forward. So, good, complete defensive player.
He's so much fun to watch as a defenseman because there's something that clicks in his head, and he's like, no one's taking this puck from me, and he will go coast to coast. Won't always score. He'll very often set up somebody else, but it's like I said, something clicks in his head, and he's like, no one's taking this puck from me, and he goes coast to coast. So much fun to watch.
Great.
And then our Prime Burger Goalie of the Month, obviously, Ben Kynashay.
What a phenomenal month of hockey from him.
Yeah, he's for such a young kid, 21 years old, he's incredible. I mean, he's going to be right up there in the leagues of Leo and some of our top stars throughout the history of the SHL. So
it's really fun to watch him compete. We've had at least one game, I think, Novotel was down, against Siam, I think, in the previous week or maybe 2 weeks ago, and kind of start to hang your head, and you're thinking, wow, is Novotel, but he just quietly, how many times, in a similar way to Leo, such a guy to deflect attention away from himself, just quietly he's going to do his job back there.
Yeah, he's an amazing goaltender. He's not trying to throw himself all over the place, and that's nothing against our goaltenders that do that, but he tracks the puck so well. Positioning is incredible. He cuts off the angle on the net, and takes down shooting lanes by coming out and challenging players when he needs to. So, well deserved. Congratulations, Ben.
Well deserved.
And now on Sunday, December 13th, our final games of 2020. In our first game at 9 o'clock, we have Aware going head-to-head with KCG.
This should be an interesting one. Both teams coming off of frustrating losses.
Yes.
In different ways.
Yeah.
You've got Aware with, unfortunately, as we've discussed many times with this program, some of the same problems. What a talented roster. You individually pick out so many names. Defensemen, offensemen, and just still working, trying to put all of these separate parts into one well-oiled machine. Conversely, KCG played really well, kind of a letdown the week prior against Novotel in that rematch.
Yep.
Things going well into the third period, 2-0 lead, but the worst lead in hockey, kind of let your foot off the gas and don't finish.
Yeah, so losing it in overtime. So it definitely will be an interesting game to watch. I hope both teams come out on well, I hope. I know Harrison is going to be firing up KCG, that's for certain. But can Justin get Aware on the game?
I want him to do well. I'm going to pull for the underdog, but I think just because of the emotions coming into this game for KCG, as you just alluded to, right? Yep. I think KCG probably with the slight edge in this one, in my opinion. I worry that their talent, you got Jesse Starosta and Harrison Ostermel, Jan, who we talked about, Jari, one player of the month offensively.
Leo in the net, of
course, right? So I think potentially you've got an issue of who scores first, as I've discussed before. You kind of let Aware get down on yourself maybe a little bit. Is this going to be, here we go, chalk it up to another game?
Well, yeah, but Siam Mandalay didn't score first last week, and they scored 3 goals at the end.
Sure, so, that's a fair point. And we loved their fire, their bounce back in the prior game, and they had a little ember of that in the third period, too little too late in this week. So we'll see.
I think, and I'm not taking anything away from Justin, I think Harrison is going to fire up his boys. And they're going to come out, and it's going to probably be, unfortunately, there's going to be like a 3-goal spread.
think that could probably happen. I don't want to say probably happen. That could certainly happen. You know, it's another talented lineup. You got a lot of great players on KCG. Although conversely, I'm just going to kind of call out Harrison and Jesse had a fantastic first 4 games or so, statistically speaking.
Yeah.
And they're not still playing well. They certainly are. But on a statistical basis, Jesse especially, I think, has not had a point in 3 games, maybe. Something like that.
Yeah,
so,
well, one of the biggest things they especially in the last 2 games, that both Harrison and Jesse have struggled with is putting shots on net. If they can get those shots on net, they're going to go in. They got to get the shots on
eventually,
net, eventually, but they've got to get those shots on net.
Stick true to what you guys do well, which is, you know, you guys play together well. You win face-offs. You know, you set each other up, whether it's one or the other, really well. I also think, you know, they're probably not going to split each other up, but kind of like in the same way with Aware, do you try and shake things up a little bit, play a different position? Maybe one goes to center and one goes to the wing instead, whatever it might be. I know they've done that before. Harrison kind of plays both center and wing sometimes. So all I'm trying to get at is you guys, you've got the talent.
Yeah.
You know, do you shake things up? Do you try and keep doing the same thing?
To see. I don't think he will. I think he's just going to light a fire under his boys. And,
Yeah. Okay.
As Harrison, I know he can do, and it'll be interesting. If he does that, I think there's going to be a 3-goal spread.
Conversely, Aware, you know, you got a lot of voices in that room, but
You've got one who needs to take control of his team, and he hasn't done it quite yet. So
I'll let you do the talking on that one.
Justin, hate me. Everybody else, you guys can hate me. I'm not on the ice, but I see what I see. You know, it's time, in my opinion, it's time for Aware to play Aware hockey. Now, they've done it once.
And what does that mean, by the way?
Aware hockey?
Well, all I mean to say is, like, you know, because we have a different team each season, right?
Right.
You know, so what I'm getting at is we've already talked about. You've got all these players who individually are so good, but as you maybe should say, or can change the wording, is play team hockey, right? Play Aware.
Yeah.
Team hockey.
Team hockey. Team hockey. Absolutely. And this is the time where they need to start doing that, because we're heading into the home stretch for the season. You know, we're going on a break, right? This is the last game of 2020. So you want to finish the year on a high note, have the break, so you're fired up when you come back. Justin needs to take control of his team and say, everybody else, shut up, sit down, let's play hockey. Hate me. That's okay. I'm used to that. That doesn't bother me. But that's what I think needs to happen for Aware.
Sure. And then our nightcap, 10 o'clock, Siam Mandalay versus the Novotel Spitfires. Can Siam Mandalay do anything to throw a wrench in a perfect 2020 for Novotel?
Ooh. I think if Siam Mandalay has all of their skaters, you have to match up somebody on Freeson, which is going to be difficult. Then you have to match up somebody on Stastny, which again is going to be difficult. Can be done. Okay, that means you're going to remove one of your players just to stop one of theirs. Then you need to...
Okay, so use that one.
Well, I'm talking about like individually. Okay.
Okay.
So, and then you have to do the same thing with Ken.
Yep.
If CM Mandalay can find a way to do that with those 3 skaters in particular, if that means getting a stick on a pass, if that means tapping their stick right before they get the shot off, if that means getting under their skin, which is almost impossible for Ken and Freeson. Stastny is quite new. I'm still learning him, but if they can do that, that's the only way I see them winning this.
Interesting. This is the team that has come closest, CM,
Yes.
in the early season. You know,
Siam Mandalay has come the closest. Yep.
few weeks ago now, I guess, 4 weeks ago, they had a tight game.
They had a
played
tight game.
really well. I think
Closing seconds of the game.
I think the best way to beat a team like Novotel, which has so much talent, is to possess the puck yourself.
Yes.
Play smart.
Yeah.
They are so good at getting a takeaway, capitalizing on your mistake, and getting one of their top-end players an opportunity at a breakaway or at, an odd man rush. And they, when given the chance, can put it away. Freeson with 11 goals in the season. Stastny with 7 goals in the season. Kindborn with 5, 10 assists. These guys will make you suffer if you give them an opportunity to.
They absolutely will, and that's what I'm saying. They need to... Siam Mandalay... I can't talk all of a sudden. Siam Mandalay needs to find a way to interrupt the flow of those 3 guys. And I'm not taking anything away from anybody else on the Novotel Spitfires. They can play. But their biggest contributors, you need to find a way to break up their flow.
Sure, I can agree with that. You got a lot of quality defensemen on Siam, whose biggest job is going to be to try and stop Novotel. Mike Wilson, Yeen, Tankrokriyat. What can you guys do? What can you, as the forwards, do? Back-checking, forechecking, do. Mm-hmm. Patrick Forstner, among others, right? To try and stop their players. We'll see what happens. It's going to be an interesting game to watch.
What's your prediction?
This is a tough one. It's just such a tough one. Dream has got talent. Dream can steal a game
Absolutely.
too. But as soon as I say that, I think in the opposite goal, you got Ben, who can just as easily, right? So I love my stats. I'm a stats guy. I just look at this matchup, and I can't see a way to pick against Mike Freeson and the rest of the Novotel Spitfires. I think it'd make it a perfect 8-0 in 2020 SHL before the 2021 part of our season starts. That's my prediction. I think Novotel wins. I think Siam's going to play well. I expect them to play well. I think they've put together a really solid month of hockey. Kind of starting off this season a little bit rough. Couldn't get their first win several games in. Yep. Finally picked it up against Aware. Couldn't pick up that second win for a little while, but then you watch them finally break through in this prior game, pick up their second win of the season. So
against KCG.
Against KCG, exactly. So I expect them to play well. But I think Novotel is just playing cohesively too well together, to stop them at this moment.
I'll agree with you. And I think Siam Mandalay is going to play a really solid game. I see it 2 goals or less.
Sure.
Spread. But I definitely think the Novotel Spitfires are going to walk away with a undefeated 2020.
I'd buy that spread. What do you think? 4-2?
I think it's going to be 4-2 or 5-3. It's going
4-2, 5-3.
It's going to be one of those 2 things. So.
I think the quality of the goaltenders says that this could be a tighter game. I would say 3-1, 4-2.
Possibly. It's possible.
We'll see. Exciting news. Exciting for us to see, right? Final
Absolutely.
games of the 2020 season.
I'm looking forward to it. All right. That's all for this week. We'll see you at the rink.
The opposite was very strong. I was good.
Siam Hockey League News is brought to you by Big Chili Magazine, the best read expat lifestyle and news magazine in Thailand. It covers interesting issues in Bangkok and the region while bringing its readers engaging stories and various exclusive interviews, food reviews, and more. You can find the Big Chili Magazine in bookstores and online at thebigchili.com. The music for the opening and ending credits are brought to you by DJ Caucasian.